What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Not a Sheep podcast. My name is Narwhal. I'm here with my buddy Matt.
Yup, what's
We're
up?
also here with Chase.
Hey there.
And Esteban.
What's up?
Let's go.
You guys are from the band called Not Alone.
Yep.
Which I think is pretty fitting that we're not a sheep.
Yeah.
But you guys have your first official album coming out in a couple days, or the day this episode
This is
drops.
out, yeah.
Yeah.
Go
14th.
listen to it.
Wow. What's it called?
It's called Instead of Sleeping.
All right.
Ooh.
How long have you guys been working on this? Like, what's the backstory to the album?
Oh man, we've been working on this. Since we started. The first song that was written for this album was written in the winter of 2016.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. 4 years.
Wow.
It wasn't intended to be an album, but
Yeah.
years went by and we just started working on it.
Which one was that?
That was Silhouettes.
Silhouettes, which is the
Oh.
closer, one of the
Second to last.
Second to
Yeah.
last track
Yeah.
on the album. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Which one is your guys' favorite? If you had to pick one.
Oh. I've had this debate. We've had this debate.
You want to go first? I feel like you have
I'd
it pretty
say,
clear.
yeah, I either Sirens, which is track 1, or Superman, which is track 6 or 7. They're both super cool and had a lot of fun making those. Although I like the whole album.
Yeah.
For me personally, my favorite right now is definitely Mayday.
Yeah. Mayday is sweet.
That one's my favorite one just because how complex it is.
Okay, sweet. So we'll get more into this in a little bit, but
Yeah.
before we do, we like to just start the episodes by telling you guys what we've been listening to the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
So Matt, you want to start it off so they get the idea?
Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of like Black Bear's new album, and I went back and listened to some of his older stuff. A little bit of Devon Terrell, who's been like one of my favorite like rap and R&B artists, and besides that, just like a little bit of J. Cole and JID.
Okay. What about you, Esteban?
I've been getting back into the Killers. I've been listening to a lot of Hot Fuss, which is their debut album. I've been listening to that a ton, and getting back into Childish Gambino and Logic right now.
Okay.
That's dope.
When you guys are in the process of creating, like when you were in the midst of making your album, do you guys avoid listening to other artists?
Or like certain kinds of music.
Yeah.
Not at all. We are always listening to music just because, we love it so much, and we take influences from different areas.
Very, very different between us.
Yeah, and we all have such different influences that it helps combine, like we combine it all to create a very unique sound.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's kind of necessary to have people that listen to everything.
Well, there's
Definitely.
some people that just like don't listen to anything at all when they're in like album mode, and they just only listen to their own stuff. Like I don't know how you can do that.
Like David Guetta. I remember hearing an interview where my mom told me that David Guetta doesn't listen to any music, like in the radio.
Dude, I got so sick of listening when our first single came out. We'd listened to it. I didn't even mix it, and I listened to it so many times, like while working on it, that I have like not intentionally listened to it since it came out.
Right.
2 years. 2 years
That's
later.
crazy.
Yeah.
So.
Chase, what do you usually listen to?
Oh man, I've been listening to like the first half of we talked about it,
Just
the first half of the Black Bear album, the new one that came out.
Wow, the first half.
He released it separately.
Yeah, it was the first half
Oh.
came out, and then I listened to it and I liked it, and the second half came out. I don't know if it worked the same way for you, Matt, but I'm not a huge fan of the second half. So
Really?
I kind of felt
Yeah.
the same way. There's
Yeah.
a few songs in the second half I like, but
Yeah.
the first half
overall,
I
the
think is
first
way
half
better.
was better.
How
Yeah,
come? Are they like drastically different?
kind of.
projects?
There's some features, which is cool, but I wasn't a huge.
I
fan.
didn't think it really worked too well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it felt
feel you.
kind of like thrown together, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
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 All right. Well, the last couple weeks I've been listening to Jenna Wright, who's definitely on the come up. Joyner Lucas has an upcoming album. He had like a single that was released, and then honestly, Timothy Salzar, our guest who was on a
Our
couple
boy.
weeks ago.
Sweet.
He has an album called Quarantine Beach, and you guys should definitely go listen to it. It's really
That's
good.
it. Yeah.
But anyways, let's hop into talking about your guys' album because I'm excited. So it's
Yeah.
called
Yeah.
what's it? Instead of Sleep.
Yeah. Instead of sleeping.
Instead of sleeping. Okay, that's what I thought. There's a bunch of different things, but first of all, I heard you guys like rented an Airbnb to
Yep.
To
go
record everything.
to like a place you can kind of have your own little space and record it.
Yeah, we tracked. So our second single, Angela, was the first one we tracked like by ourselves without a recording studio. We went to a really great recording studio for our first single, but it was just kind of like, I don't know, not our style to be so under pressure.
Okay.
And so yeah, we recorded Angela, our second single, in Blake's living room. But recording for one day versus recording for 5 days of having drums and computers in your living room. Blake's parents were not too fond of that. So Blake found a big A-frame cabin on Airbnb, which we thought was out in the middle of the woods, like not near anybody. So we were not concerned about making noise. We get there, it's connected to this lady's house. It's the same building. Not even I was so worried, but turns out her son is like a musician and she was a music teacher, so she was just so excited. She was making us food and
wow,
stuff.
that's perfect. Wait, so did you go over there and we're like, hey, listen, we're gonna be really loud?
Or did you tell them ahead of time?
Yeah, no. So Blake Blake rented the Airbnb with the idea, and he told them, saying, we're trying to record an album, we're going to be loud, is this okay? And they gave him permission for us to do that, and that's how we were able to rent it.
Yeah.
But I remember towards the last 2 days of the recording process, we were a little pressed for time. We still had to do a couple of drum stuff and guitar stuff.
Recording guitars until 2 or 3 in the morning.
Was so paranoid they were going to wake them up. But I remember they came out like at 9 p.m. to say goodnight, and I was like, just real quick, if you stand out there and hear us play, they're like, we can't hear anything from outside the door. And I'm like, well, perfect. That means we can record until like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you guys, wait, so the whole project was done start to finish in a couple days?
Yeah.
Well, recording.
Yeah, so recording. Yeah. We did, obviously, at least for us, the hardest thing to do was drums because that just takes the most space and the most setup. And it's just such a pain to tear down and take up. You really want to do it once. So we had the drums permanently set up and mics permanently placed. And we recorded drums and guitars for every track on the drums, guitars, and bass for every track on the album there in 4 days.
Dang.
4 days, yeah.
Wow.
4 nights, 5 days, I guess.
And then I tracked all the vocals the week that we officially went into quarantine. I did it that first week.
Yep, you did. Sam did it a week after you. I just dropped some gear off at your house and we got it done.
Oh, so you guys did all the vocals like a long time ago?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
See, I'm always so curious how different genres of music like go about
just
making
recording.
Recording. Because so for you guys, the biggest hurdle was like the drums.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for tracking, it's just, we had 17 mics on drums total.
Oh my god.
Plus setting up the drums in and of itself is just such a pain.
And then the noise blankets.
It's super loud, and we had to set up, we built some noise isolation stands, basically, like DIY acoustic panels just with some moving blankets and things. And it was actually ended up sounding really good, but it was a pain to set up and tear down. So
Dang.
Yeah, wait. So how's that work exactly? Like, so because I don't make music, so explain to me So when you guys were setting up these you said sound isolation areas.
Yeah.
What's that for?
So the idea is when you want to record something, you want to record it with as little natural room, reverberations as you can.
Yeah.
Because you can always add it digitally, but you can't take it away. And so for drums, that cabin, as nice as that cabin sounded, was pretty big, and there was a decent amount of echo in there, which sounded great standing there. But if we wanted to change it after recording it, you can't take it away.
Yeah.
So the idea is kind of just to get it as dead, as little reverb as possible, so you can add it digitally later.
Yeah. Well, something that Matt and I were talking about after listening to it before you guys came over was it sounds very live in a way, which I assume that was your guys' intention.
Well, that also is because we listen to a lot of hip hop, which is just not
very
live in any way
possible.
possible.
But I don't know. I think that was cool, and it sounds like that was probably your guys' intention with it.
For sure. It's not all music of this genre is that way. Yeah, granted, hip hop is a lot of it's very produced, and a lot because so many of the instruments are electronic, it's more difficult to get that live sound. But because we're playing, big smashing drums and really loud, we recorded guitars really loud, which helps with the live kind of sound. That was kind of the sound we were going for. At least I was going for.
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely what we were trying to go for. When we were talking to Cade, who's the guy who mixed our album, and we were told him we want to give it a live setting, give it a live sound, so that our listeners kind of feel like they're there with us.
Yep.
And also just really encapsulates who we are. We're a teen garage band,
Yeah.
We play live. We don't play SNL or any of the Tonight shows with John Oliver. We play live for kids our age and adults too.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you go.
I was just gonna say, because you guys have been performing for a long time. How many songs have you guys had pretty much the whole album? What songs have you been performing for a while?
Yeah, so Talk You Down, which came out in 2018, was we've been playing most of these songs at our shows for, obviously we haven't been playing shows recently, but most of our shows from 2018 on have had majority of these songs that are on the album played there. I think it's just like getting around to actually recording it is a whole another level effort, and we want to take our time and do the best we can. So we have a lot of songs that we played live that did not make it on the album for good reasons. So
and yeah, the way I like to put it is we had like 3 phases. We had the beginner phase, which is involves
awful music.
No, it was all awful. We had Talk You Down on there, Silhouettes, and Rogue, as well as countless others. Some we decided to drop.
Most we decided to drop.
But some of them, those 3 specifically, we decided to carry over to the album.
Yep.
Then we had phase 2, which was when we started just branching out like our musical spectrums. We started listening to a lot of Mom Jeans and a lot of Hippocampus. Those 2 influences were, and Peach Pit. Those 3 influences were really big for our phase 2, where we had Sponsor Be Coke, Angela, Mayday. I think it was those 3. Those 3 were the ones that we made all together.
Yep. I mean, Mayday, we sat down. We all went over to Blake's house at like 8 p.m. and we said, all right, we're not going to bed until we finish this song. And it was like we were like, we're just struggling to get it started. And so we sat down in his downstairs living room, and we all just like I brought an acoustic in, and we just sat down and wrote the whole song together. That was the only song on the album that we all wrote together at the same time.
Yeah. And then we played Call of Duty. But that was phase 2. And then phase 3 was songs that were recorded or written weeks / 1 month before the album, before we recorded the album, like Sirens and Superman and Cars.
We finished writing in the studio.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's cool to me to see how serious you guys seem to be like taking this. I mean, I don't know. At least to me, I feel like with bands, especially new bands, it seems like, and I mean, you guys are like in high school, you guys are like all probably like doing different things. Like, it's cool to see that you guys since 2016 have like stuck together and like actually made an album work. Has there been like creative struggles with, like what's it been like trying to like come up with a cohesive project that like everyone feels like they have a say in, and like what's that process been like?
I mean, well, it's tough because or actually it's not very tough, because luckily we've been fortunate enough where we all kind of have the same ideas, or all kind of come to a conclusion together
for the most part.
Our writing process is mostly Sam will come up with a song and bring it to us, and then it goes kind of through Blake and sees if he can put a drum pattern on it. If we like it, then we continue forward. Or if I bring a song and we do the exact same thing. There have been times where Sam just finishes the song, brings it to us, and we're like, we love this. Let's add on a lead, let's add on bass.
That's what Talk You Down was.
And that, or like I do the same thing, where it's like I finish the song and let's bring it in and add more production to it. And so luckily there haven't been too many creative differences, but in the moments that there are, it's very much we communicate a lot to try to make sure that everyone is satisfied, especially me. Like I make sure everyone is satisfied with everything they want. Like I remember for Mayday, Sam wanted something to happen like in the pre-chorus, and I wasn't necessarily for it, but Sam was pretty like his head was pretty strong on that.
Sam wanted it more than you didn't want it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so what happened was we came to a conclusion, we came to a compromise where we just added an effect, and it made it sound different.
Yep.
He liked that, and I was like, okay, I like it too, and then I don't have to, sacrifice the dropping of that part.
Right.
Yeah. I feel like the ability to compromise is probably huge.
Yes.
Within a band.
Oh yeah. Especially so. Yeah. I mean, writing music and and producing music is one thing. Although generally, if we're all sitting down together doing it, we can kind of work those differences out as it happens. For all the logistics, which is the 95% of what we've been doing the past few months, is like it's a lot more difficult to make a decision when you're not all sitting in a room, especially with COVID happening. Like it's much more difficult to make a finite decision that everyone's 100% happy with when not everybody's there.
Yeah, 100%. Do you think that it turned out better because of your guys' decision to go and like rent an Airbnb and like kind of get to a place where you guys are all just like, we're here for a reason and like we're gonna get this done? Do you feel like that like helped you guys actually finish it?
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, there's a time pressure not only, but also there's like a financial pressure.
Yeah,
because
it's not cheap.
It's not cheap, and we only have so many bucks from our gigs, and it's kind of like this is our one shot. We either make it or we have to set it again. It's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
Because you guys did Talk You Down in the studio, right? Was that kind of the same thing? Like, all right, we don't have that much time. Let's get it done.
That was even worse because we learned the reason we didn't do the whole album in a studio is, well, one, because it's expensive, and two, we booked an entire day. There's a studio in Ballard called the Hall of Justice. Great studio, really, really great value for the money. And we rented a whole day there, and we were like, all right, we're going to track 4 songs. This is when we recorded Talk You Down in, March of 2018 or so.
Oh, yeah. 2017, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, it was a while. And then we finished Talk You Down, and we barely got all the songs done, and we originally, like, Talk You Down was going to be an EP originally. Like, we shot art and everything for an EP, and we decided afterwards that, like, we really didn't like how any of them came out other than Talk You Down, which is why it ended up being a single, and why we kind of realized that, we finished with like 5 minutes to spare on our time slot at the studio, and like that, I hated doing that.
Yeah.
You hated doing that.
We all hated it. We were so stressed. It wasn't like we were mad at each other, but like there was just so much tension because there was so much pressure to do it right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then it was just so much frustration afterwards when we realized that like for example, me, like I just hadn't practiced that much and I just wasn't ready, or like Blake was off time in some
not all
areas.
of it. Like none of us were really.
None of us were really that ready to record, but
Yeah.
we learned, and that's why we took this new approach.
Yeah.
Wait, did the songs that you cut off that EP, did those make it on the album, or were they different ones?
2 of them did. Rogue and Silhouettes made it on.
Okay.
Obviously with new recordings because we've grown as musicians and just our voices. But one of them didn't make the cut. It's just a very fast-paced rock song.
I was not feeling it. It's got a really fast bass line.
If I can ask, what was the name of that one?
It's called Madeline.
Rest in peace, Madeline. You guys will never hear it ever.
Maybe.
We'll see. We might revisit it on the next project.
We still play it up. We still play it. I remember I was dating a girl named Madeline.
Oh.
And I played, but it's not about her.
Okay.
I wrote it like 3 years ago, and I dated her last year.
Yep.
And she came to our concert. She was like, "So you had another Madeline before me?" I'm like, No.
Which is why for Angela, our second song, we spent at least a few hours trying to figure out a name of a girl that none of us knew.
Yeah. I was like, I need a 3-syllable name so that fits with the rest of the song.
But we were like, we know all these people, and so we finally settled on Angela.
But after you picked it, did you end up finding someone you know?
I've met so many Angelas like that. I remember one of them as a joke is like, "Did you write this about me?" And I was like, No.
Yeah,
That's so funny. Well, yeah, it's funny because just the other episode, Matt and I were talking about like how much of certain artists' songs are like literal and like based on reality, and like all the lines are like this actually happened, and like this is the real person's story and everything, and like how much of it is,
like metaphorical,
or
metaphorical, just like
for sure.
a story that's made up.
So when I was listening, I was like, who's the Angela? Like, I want to know who this Angela was.
I mean, Angela's like, Angela. I shift the story every once in a while, but it usually lands on one of 2 fronts. It's mostly metaphorical, but it does have some key elements.
Yep.
Both from my life as well as one of my past relationships.
Yeah.
There's a lot of metaphor in Mayday specifically, or sorry, Rogue, not Mayday. Rogue has a ton of metaphor in it. I mean, you could talk more about that.
In what sense?
I mean, I wrote it. It was. I kind of wrote it when I was going through like it was 8th grade, I think. And for some reason, that was my like politically charged year, like my rebel year. And I mean, that's why it's called Rogue. I mean, it's like the Renegades, something about alibis and all the lies and stuff like that.
The Renegades, Ruster City Lines.
Yeah. Yep. So it was very much like a fight song, kind of like I'm tired of just
BS.
Yeah, tired of BS, tired of authority. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah,
that's dope.
That's
like Rage Against the Machine type of song.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny that, or not funny. It's cool that a song that you wrote in 8th grade still like rings true, and like that you guys still were like, I actually still like the song.
Yeah,
I'm surprised.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, we're surprised too.
Yeah, we're. I mean, we've had probably 6, 7, 8 ones like that, similar situation that we just hated. I mean, I cannot listen to any of them now because we've just been playing them for so long, you know?
Yeah.
And
well, yeah, imagine those like bands that have been playing the same songs at concerts for like
decades.
40
Yeah,
years.
That's why I think of like the Killers playing Mr. Brightside, which came out in 2004. It's like their massive hit, and they had to play it every single show for like 20 years.
But like the worst thing was that like our first couple of songs were so like they just weren't very complex, and they were just too easy to play, where it was just boring.
We got 4 notes. Better as musicians working together. And in the first year, so like the first 3 months of songs we had written, you know, that at the time we're actually doing this. Holy, like, this is insane. And I listen to those now and I'm like, all right, there's 3 chords there. and it's like 70 BPM. Like it is
It's like
awful.
the melody consists of 7 notes.
Yeah, if that. Yeah, it's. Yeah, we've got a few of those. I'm sure I could find a recording somewhere.
Speaking of hit songs, when you guys dropped your very first song, it did really well.
Yes, it did.
What was that like?
Crazy.
If
Did you guys have any expectation for that?
No.
We didn't. We did not have any expectations at all during that process. I think we kind of noticed one day that there's something called Spotify for Artists, which lets you see like your stats and who's listening around the world and how many listens you get a day.
Yeah.
And so I think we realized one day, like, why are we constantly getting a good amount of listens, like a good portion of listens every single day?
Yeah.
And I was looking through the playlist and I was like, guys, or I don't know if it was me or Chase, but basically one of us was like, we're on daily mixes and we're on Release Radar.
Release Radar, yeah,
and
it was
Discover.
the first one.
Release Radar's huge.
Yeah.
Release, yeah, it was it was like, of course, listens in Seattle and Issaquah and stuff like that, like ages 16 to 22, and I was like, all right, this is expected. And we got 3,000 or 5,000 plays in the first like couple of days.
Okay, yeah.
2 weeks in, it
like
shot up
Chicago.
to like 15,000, all from Chicago, and I was like, what is happening here? And then it was on Release Radar was the first one we were on, and we got 50 or 60,000 plays from that just alone, and then it got on Discover Weekly for a while, and we still get listens from Discover Weekly like algorithm or whatever, and it shot up 100,000 in like 2 days.
And you guys didn't do any sort of like, you didn't send it out for
No.
playlists or anything.
I didn't even know you
like
could do that.
We were literally just there like, let's put something out. Like, let's.
That doesn't happen like ever.
Oh yeah, it was weird. It was really weird.
But it was really nice because like once we posted a version of it on YouTube, just like the cover art and the song. But I remember we were reading through the comments, or people would come into our DMs and say really nice things about the song, or say how much that song meant to them because it helped them during a dark period in their lives.
Dang, yeah.
It was just so refreshing for us, and it really opened up our eyes because we realized, sure, we're making music for us, but we're also, we're speaking a message, we're relating to people, trying to create that
Actually
unity.
making an impact.
Yes, and it makes it's kind of a different feeling. Of course, always appreciate like friends and family listening and appreciating our stuff, but like
when it's someone random.
yes, that totally. Like we had a
Oh.
guy in the middle of a very war-torn favela in Brazil who was like, could you like send us, or me and my wife, like some shirts, like I'll pay whatever it costs to get them here. And I like typed it in, and USPS was like, we don't consider this an address, and it was like all this
my
thing.
God.
And super awesome dude, but I don't think we ever ended up getting anything out to him, unfortunately.
Dang.
No, and there was this other guy a couple months ago. It was maybe like December, November, January, around there, and all of a sudden I look at our Instagram and we got tagged in a video of some random guy
Yep.
covering "Talk You Down,"
That was super cool.
and it was
Dang.
so cool.
Someone did it. That's crazy. That's dope.
Yeah. It always seems like those times with any creative field, it seems like sometimes the moments when you don't expect anything,
Yeah.
or like you don't even put in effort sometimes,
Yep.
or like you just put something out, that seems to be the time when like things randomly, luckily just pop off.
For sure.
And then sometimes
Yep.
when you put your heart and soul into a project, or like, I don't know, like a certain song, you're like, all right, this is my best song of my career, and you put it out and like
It flops.
Yep.
it flops.
Yep.
That sucks, but
Oh yeah.
that had to have been like a super cool feeling, not really expecting anything and just seeing the response.
Yeah.
Because you guys, so the two singles you have out,
Talk You
Well,
Down in Angela.
yeah, Talk You
Yep.
Down and Angela, those are still getting like a lot of plays, and you guys still have like 8,000 monthly listeners.
8,600, something like that. And yeah, I mean, it's down from where it was, but I mean, still like, yeah, the way you can kind of tell, at least in my eyes, and I think this is pretty consistent across genres, is if you get on a playlist like a Discover Weekly or something like that, you can see the breakdown of where people are listening from. And so originally it was 99.95% from Discover Weekly or whatever, but that shifted over the past 6-7 months
playlist.
from when it got on the playlist to being users' own library, users' own
Okay,
playlists,
yeah.
and like that's how you kind of know. Because if it's still all like people who came across it by accident and then never listened to it again, that's how you kind of know it wasn't like
It's a really good playlist, but they weren't
yeah,
taking it back.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so when it gets added to their library and they keep playing it, that's kind of a great way to measure how much people like your song. I
Right.
guess.
Yeah. Well, it'll be cool for you guys to see how many of those people that originally found you from like those playlists of your singles
Yeah.
now will like get notified or check out your album when it comes out.
I'm really interested to see that as
I
well.
hope
Yeah.
so. I really hope
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
How are things like gonna be different this time? Like now that you're pushing a project, are you guys planning on doing anything different, like marketing wise?
I mean,
or?
This is our marketing.
Hey.
A bit.
It's a bit. We haven't put too much into it. We know like we're gonna have lyric videos, which we've never had before.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a music video, but it's still some progress.
That's dope. Yeah.
I think we're gonna we've had a couple of photo shoots here and there with friends, and I think we're gonna try to post a couple more pictures from those.
We had some production, like, for Talk You Down, it was like we posted a picture of the album art on our Instagram. It was like, hey guys, listen to our song. And that was like the entire announcement. And, now we've had like, 1 month, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 week, 1 week build up with, professional, more professional content, like videos. And we've been putting more effort in. I wouldn't say we're like marketing it like,
we're not marketing experts, but we're definitely going to try to reach out to more. I think this is our period where we are going to send this out to playlists and record labels,
radio
and
stations.
other people, radio stations.
That's where the effort's going to go in, I think.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's tough. Like for visuals, like I'm a videographer and editor, and I do a lot of videos for Matt, and like it's just been pretty apparent to both of us how much the visuals like actually make an impact. But it's also hard because it's hard trying to find someone who can make like good visuals without hiring a full-on production company.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
No, you do great, dude. Like it keeps me super engaged. No shade against your music, obviously, but like you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Like for sure.
So like I don't know. I think it's cool that you guys are,
Yeah.
Lyric videos are definitely a great place to start. Like there's this band called RKCB, and like I found them just because they had really sick lyric videos on YouTube.
Got you.
And I just went through like a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, man. I'm just big into visuals, and I think it's
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm excited, and I like your guys' aesthetic to your Instagram.
Thank you. With the TV, is that?
Yeah, just like I just going through it, and just the whole vibe of your whole page. I think it fits.
Thank you. Yeah, Chase is very big on that.
Yeah, that TV that we feature in a bunch of our promo, and it's actually going to be in all the lyric videos too. Is some TV that I found at Value Village like a couple months ago. It's like a 72, some Mitsubishi TV or something, and I didn't think it even worked, and I brought it home, or Blake brought it home because I didn't have my big car with me or whatever, and plugged it in. He's like, it works. So I got an adapter box so we can plug HDMI in and like put a video up on the screen,
That's
which has
awesome.
been super helpful for
Oh
all
wait,
videos.
so that was an actual video?
Yeah.
It wasn't like edited?
No, it wasn't edited.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
you guys just like edited
It makes it so much easier when it's actually on it.
Yeah. That's funny.
But-
Would you say do you feel like the music coming out in this album is substantially better than your two singles that are out right now, or do you think are you still proud of your singles? I guess.
Yeah. I think I am proud of both singles. I think Talk You Down is a great song. I think it's a really pretty song if you really listen to the lyrics.
Yeah.
Angela, I'm also pretty proud of just because it was like just us. It was,
That was all we
our
did.
effort.
We should mention Talk You Down was mixed and mastered by a guy from the studio who ended up not taking our money and not texting us back on a second song, which sucks. But we did Angela, recorded, mixed and mastered it by ourselves. Actually, we had the guy who mixes and masters all Peach Pit's albums master it. And it turned out okay. It was the first song that Blake and I had ever mixed to sound like a song. And after hearing the way Cade has taken those, we took the same tracks and remixed them for the album
Right, yeah.
on Angela, and it sounds just so much better.
But in reference to the question, I do think that our music is matured.
Yeah.
And it's just a little more complex, and it has a little bit more charm. Obviously, we're never gonna have the charm, the teen 13 14-year-old charm from Talk You Down.
That's crazy. You guys were 13.
Yeah,
I was 13 when we
my
recorded that.
gosh.
Wait, when it came out, or how old were you when it came out?
I was 14 when it came out.
That is insane.
Yeah.
That's actually
Yeah.
crazy to me.
Yeah, but
Wow.
Yeah.
the one thing I do like about our album a lot is that I don't know if you might have not picked it up the first couple times you listened to it, but there is a storyline. Once you start Sponsor Me Coke through Superman
It's
is
like-
okay.
it's like
a
main story.
I
cohesive
noticed
story.
that on Sponsor Me, it's a pretty it's an actual story you're telling.
Yeah.
And
Wait,
there-
is it
and-
Sponsor Me or is it Sponsor Me Coke?
We can't say Coke in the title or we get copyright strike.
Yep. Okay. Got
Dude,
it.
But,
the merch for that song is dope.
Oh, you've seen
Yeah.
the merch, yeah.
No, yeah. So it starts Sponsor Me Coke, and then if you notice, all the songs up till Superman, those 4 songs all go into each other,
Yep.
and those tell a story. And the other songs have similar themes, but I think that's really cool that we're able to tell. It's not a concept album, but we're able to tell a story.
Cohesive
about it.
story
Right,
across
yeah.
songs.
Across songs.
We're trying to. I was talking with Blake actually about potentially shooting some sort of like a 10 or 12 minute narrative, like
Yes.
with those 4 songs,
Mm-hmm.
and tell a story, not necessarily the story with the intention, of how the songs were written, but tell a story where the songs apply. And I think it'd be a fun project.
That'd be
to work on,
dope, like a little short film almost.
yeah, I think we're a little burnt out right now though, so
Yeah.
we take a bit of a break from logistics stuff. But
So you meant kind of like a music video, but it's like three or 4 different songs combined.
yeah, yeah,
That's super cool because I've seen that. Who was it? I think J. Cole had it. He released like a short film where it was like a narrative film, but then spliced throughout it there was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
songs.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Same. That's
Yeah.
what we're trying to do.
That's what we're trying to do. Yeah.
That would be super cool.
Yeah.
Like I was talking a little bit about like when there's creative differences and like struggles or just
Yeah.
like having 4 different people all trying to create this cohesive project. I don't know. I'm also I guess I'm surprised that like you guys have stuck around and also been able to like all stay motivated towards like the same goal.
Yep.
Is that like, I don't know. I don't really know even what I'm asking, but I guess I just think it's cool to me because for me, whenever I've tried to work on like big creative projects that span like years or months at a
Yeah.
time, making sure everyone is all in on the idea of it
Yeah.
from the get-go
Yep.
is like really big because, I've started projects and you realize sometimes a couple months in or a month in that like this
You're the
one
only
person
one committed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you're the only one committed and
Yep.
these other people don't really care.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, what's it like? It seems like you guys are all super close, all on the same page, and like have the same mission in mind.
Yeah, I think, and that level of motivation to get things done has not been consistent over the past 4 years. It's been, 3 months of usually the way it happens is we'll book a show and we'll play the show and get super hyped up because there's a bunch of people there or whatever, and we're like, all right, this is sweet, let's start working on this again. And then, we 3 months of like meeting a couple times a week, and then eventually it kind of slows down a bit when something else comes up, like, work or school. And it's been difficult to stay super consistent. And I would say even in the time from when we recorded the album, because of, COVID just introduced a whole new problem. But, we recorded the album in February and it's just now coming out.
Exactly.
And we had originally planned on releasing it in April, May?
April, June. Yeah.
Yeah.
Around there. So yeah, it's cool though because like we all do have, like, if you ask any 4 of us, like we all have the motivation or at least the ideal goal of getting it out.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
yeah.
before, no matter what, we want to have this album out to just show that we existed, we were here, we worked, we had ideas.
Yeah.
And it's really nice because everybody puts though there may be setbacks, in the end everybody puts in the work and the effort in order
Yep.
to make the best possible outcome that we can.
And I think it would have turned out a lot different if all 4 of us hadn't put in, as much effort as we could to make it as best as, because we figured, worst that happens, this is the only thing that's out and we want it to be good. So like, why would you, not put 100% in just to see what happens,
Right.
Yeah.
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 Well, and I think it's cool to realize, like you were saying, it's not always this consistent motivation or desire to like it's not the creative.
It's not always like the priority.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I think as a listener of music, a lot of people think, oh, this is a band. They must eat, sleep, and breathe music. Like that's what they do. They make music. But I think that for any creative person who actually makes the art can relate to the fact that like it goes in phases.
Oh, yeah.
Where you're feeling it and you're like really in it, and then maybe for a couple months you don't even think about it at all.
Oh, yeah.
We've had those moments.
Or like I was, the reason we wanted to get out in June because like I was gonna be unavailable for the summer.
Yeah.
Starting this first week of June, I was not going to be around
yeah.
at all. So we needed to get the album out in May if we wanted to even have a release concert.
And a chance of getting it done in time, 'cause
It was so limited. We had so many stressors, but COVID was definitely a curse and a blessing because my plans got canceled.
Yeah.
So we had way more time to just focus in on this.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it also put a delay in, like we it's difficult to stay super on task and super all right, I wake up and I'm like, all right, what's all that I can get done today. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, I don't want to touch that stupid album. And so we originally were supposed to send all the stuff to Cade in like May and he was going to work on it, but then another project came up for him and we were a little late on sending it, so then he worked on them for August and then it's finally ready on the 14th and yeah, it's out of our hands at this point. So
How hyped are you guys just
Dude.
to finally?
I'm hyped. I'm very hyped, but I'm kind of nervous. I will
nervous.
say.
Yeah, it's been. I just am tired of logistics. Like
logistics hurt our heads.
Yeah,
Like
it's
like I was at Chase's house the other day, and like
Yeah.
I was texting Blake and Sam
Yep.
about like marketing, like posting, like what am I
Yeah.
gonna post? And I think I just turned to Chase and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna post anything until the day before release. Like I don't care anymore. Like it's out of our hands. If it blows up, it blows up. If it does well, if people like it, that's great. If not, we like it. So
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, in reality, that's kind of to go a little bit off topic here. That's kind of a curse and a blessing for being an independent artist. I don't know if we want to talk about that at all.
Yeah,
Because we're not on a label at all right now. I mean, we're on our own label,
Yeah.
my sort of setup. But like, it's so much just. I mean, there's so much stuff that normally a label would take care of. You know, Matt. Like,
Yeah.
you know how it is. Like, a label would post your Instagram posts for you. A label would, mix and master your album for you. All you got to do is go in and play your instruments and sing, and then they take care of the rest. Because there's no label, there's no third party making sure everything gets finished. It's completely up to you.
Yeah.
Which is a freedom that I never expected to be so stressful.
Yeah.
I don't think that, any of us did. Because there's, I would say about maybe, a third of the album was, sitting down, recording it and finishing it. 2/3 have been, what merch we're going to do, when it's going to come out, what are we going to post, who are we going to send it to? And all that logistics is like, for me, and I think you feel the same way, SD, it's just like so draining after a while, which is why, I mean, we're going to just take some time to jam and hang out and not think about anything about the album, after it comes out. So,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, anyone who's an artist can probably relate. Like, you're in it originally because you like making this
Yeah.
art. You're not in it
Yes.
to try and market anything.
Yeah,
Try
exactly.
to get followers and stuff, but
Yeah.
like staying
Exactly.
consistent on social media is one of the most like surprisingly tiring.
Oh, we're
things.
we're awful at it.
we
We're so
started
bad.
we started back when I first got Instagram and we first made the band account. I was every week we'd have a post. We'd take time out of our jams, like during our lunch breaks, we'd take time out of our jams and be like, okay, let's go take a picture outside or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then after maybe 2 years of that, we went radio silent for after dropping Talk You Down, we went radio silent.
Yep.
Up until we started recording Angela again.
And after Angela came out, radio silence
silent.
from like February until like a month ago.
Yeah.
And it's just difficult to manage. There's so much stuff that if you're a signed musician, that you don't have to worry about. Yeah.
But you guys do.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have my personal, and then I have one podcast, and then I have this podcast. So like, there's 3 accounts, and trying to just like,
You got to make clips for it. Like,
yeah, and then
all
you got to
of
like make little clip, and like, I don't know. I assume it's the same with music. Like, oh, you got to do a little snippet of your song, and you got to get like the right visual, and like,
Yep.
Exactly.
it's so annoying. 'cause
Oh, yeah.
you're like, oh, it's easy. I just got to go post on Instagram, but then you got to. Like, by the time I'm finished posting, sometimes it takes like 40 minutes.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Like
to
I
do
made
one post.
the About Us video that I made.
That took you so
It took
long.
me so long, and like Chase
Yeah.
probably could have done like a little faster, but the thing is, I had to go searching for clips from like old funny videos to clips of us performing that
How
were
to
in
use
vertical.
TikTok.
Because I ended up using it with TikTok, like
Yeah.
editing it like that.
Yeah.
It just took so long. Only for I mean the people that saw it, the 300 people that saw it, that's great, but like
Yeah.
Yeah, like I put 2
I put
hours of
so
my
much
time
effort
in,
into that.
for 10 comments. Like, this is,
Yeah, dude.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The project is done now.
Mm-hmm. Thankfully.
For you guys, I'm just curious, was there any song that stood out as like the most difficult to overcome, or something is there any one that just stands out for one reason or another, whether it be something that you guys just absolutely love or that was just really challenging, or
there's 2 for me. I love all the songs on the album, but the 2 that stand out the most are the slowest. Superman and Silhouettes. Superman just because it's Sam is an amazing lyricist. He writes beautiful music, and he sings. The way he sings, you can hear the emotion in
Yes,
every single
very
note,
well.
every single word,
Yep.
super well.
Yeah.
And so Superman especially is such an emotionally charged song, and the way that he sings it really like brings out all the emotions forward.
Yeah.
And then when you got all the other elements like the acoustic guitar, the Chase's guitars that he added in for production,
Yep.
the synth, the organ, all that stuff,
Yep.
it it's just like not an overload per se, but that's the best word I can come up with right now. But it brings out everything, and for that reason, it gives me like a very authentic feel. And that song I love. Like it's a cinematic movie. It's a cinematic song,
right?
In that sense.
So you feel like you guys pulled out like all the stops. And, like,
yes.
Everything you could do.
And what I love most about the song is that like it was written in the studio.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
We rewrote it when we got there.
We rewrote it in the studio.
The other thing about that song that I think is like kind of an interesting aspect is, so of course we recorded guitars and drums and everything in that studio for all the songs. That song, all we were able to record was drums. So the next couple, 3-4 weeks were, we sat down at my house, at my desk, from my computer, my monitors, and added everything else to that song. And it was like everything was there for a reason, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
right.
It wasn't like, oh, well, I need to play bass on it, so let me play bass. It was like,
really well thought out.
Yeah, like I need rain here, so I went on my porch and recorded rain. Because we live in Seattle and it's a lot.
Or like. No, go ahead.
Or like the we were originally going to do like it originally started with a guitar. There was no Fender Rhodes organ in there at all, and we experimented with it in the studio and never recorded anything down. But then finally I sat down at my keyboard at home and just laid down those notes, and I was like, all right, this is how the song's going to start, with the rain and the Rhodes, and then everything in there just got added from there. It was
And I was like, 'cause it's the only, besides Talking Down Angela, which were recorded previously.
Yeah.
There is one lead guitar in there that's the only instrument I played on this album.
Yeah, because
I cut my thumb in January, and this was like, we knew we had February booked for our for recording, and I remember I was so sad because I cut my tendon at work.
98%, right?
98% of my tendon on my left thumb,
Lefty.
which I'm a lefty
cut
play
it?
off the guitar.
What'd you do?
I diced it on a tomato dicer on accident. Aikidoba. Where I work. And so I couldn't play anything. But
You did get that workers' comp though.
yeah, I did get that workers comp, but I couldn't play anything for the album. Chase had to play everything for me, which thank you. But luckily I did, because Superman was just made post Airbnb. I was able to play one thing on there, so it's very special.
Yeah,
And the other one is Silhouettes, because it's the first song we wrote, and I don't know if
we weren't even a band when it was you and I who wrote that at Pine Lake.
we wrote that at our middle school in the courtyard.
Yep.
That's funny.
And the one thing that really brings that song out to me, it's literally just one moment. It's towards the end of the song. It's like the big climax of the song, and there's a harmony that comes in. Like for most of the song, it's just me, and then Sam comes in with a harmony. But most people won't know it's Sam because he did it 3-4 years ago.
We took the harmony from when we recorded Silhouettes, when we recorded Tuck You Down. When we were 14 years old,
and his voice was just so much higher.
We took his harmony and threw it in. Well, I mean, I've always liked that harmony. It's super cool, and it just adds a lot of emotion. But obviously, he can't sing that harmony anymore, which is a bummer. But his voice is like, it's changed a lot for the better, in my opinion. But like, so we originally had somebody track it, and a girl track it, beautiful voice, and it sounded great. But we decided, like for the sake of nostalgia, and I just threw it in there, and you can hear it's not actually on the same time. Like we changed how the melody goes, but it works. And it just makes it super emotional, and
that's crazy.
Like it's the one point where I'm like if I were to listen to this in 10 years, that's probably where I'd break down and cry. Because it's like, these are my guys. Like I can't believe we did this.
Yeah,
that's so cool. That's like a little hidden Easter egg. So do you think that people actually won't be able to tell it it's him? Wow.
No, I don't think so. Well, because if you listen to the Sponsor Me, even in Talk You Down, he doesn't, because in Talk You Down, he stays kind of like the talking level singing.
Yeah.
And in Silhouettes, he sings high.
Yeah.
He doesn't sing that in Talk You Down, so the voice sounds different. And then Superman, which is 2 songs but 4 silhouettes, he sings super low.
Yeah. And then at the very end, he brings a ton of emotion in. But
he brings it up, but it's still his timbre is still low, even though he's singing in a medium range. So no one, like, I don't think a lot of people are going to be able to tell who's singing.
Yeah.
Wow,
that's crazy.
Cool.
Yeah.
Little fun thing. When Talk You Down first came out, about 80% of the people that listened to the song thought Esteban was singing it. And everyone was like, Esteban, I loved how you sound. Like, your singing voice is so great. I didn't know you could sing like that. And then all I could think of was like, that wasn't Esteban.
Yeah, that's not me, guys. No, because up to that point, all of our posts were promoted as me being the main singer. Because
And you
up to
did
that
sing
point,
mainly at the shows and stuff that we'd played.
yeah, because up to that point, it was mostly me singing and Sam playing mostly guitar. Because I wasn't very good at guitar back then.
It just happened that was the song that worked from recording, was the one that Sam led.
Okay, yeah.
And now we've done it more like the Beatles, where like
Oh boy.
we're like I sing some songs, Sam sings some songs, hopefully Chase sings some songs. Next album, hopefully.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Chase, you've been singing a lot recently, haven't you?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, I've just had like, I had like a bunch of health issues in like freshman, sophomore year, and I like got sick a lot, and it like ruined my vocal cords.
Oh.
And now that I'm like finally getting better, I can actually like have a voice again.
Yeah.
It makes me not sound like I smoke a pack a day. So,
And it's awesome because when we released Talking Down to Angela, a lot of comments, and even during shows, like people would come up, like random people would come up and be like, "I love your music, but I think you guys should add harmonies."
well, that's why we had a harmony in Angela. You can barely hear it, but I'm in there in the back.
Yeah, so it's great that Chase can sing now because Chase has a really good natural ear for harmonies.
Perfect pitch.
He has perfect pitch. and so for Mayday, it's really nice because Sam has a super low voice. Then I'm singing up high, and Chase is singing the harmony in the center, and we can finally do harmonies all together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's dope, yeah.
What's the like something we always like to ask when we have a guest is what is the dream for you guys? Are you guys still just trying to, make music you like and just kind of wing it and figure it out, or do you guys have like a
Game plan?
is there like a game plan or like a dream to, one day go on tour as a band, or is it more just casual and fun?
Blake has this obsession with buying a really crappy RV and going on tour with it, like regardless of what happens. Like he just wants to do that so badly, which is why it's funny that you say that. But yeah, I don't know. How do you think?
I mean, I think it'd be amazing to go on tour, even if it's just for fun. Like even if
it's
even
like
if
10 people bars.
even if it's
like
10
that's-
people
Yeah.
bars, I think it'd be a great experience. Because at the end of the day, like we're like Blake says it all the time, the band is like a marriage. We're a family, like
4-person marriage.
It's a 4-person marriage.
That's awesome.
But we're still gonna be friends, and we're gonna at least play music for a long time, even if we don't do it for business. So I think right now, at least for me personally, I can't speak for the other two guys or Chase, but for me personally, it's very much just like a fun project that we're doing, and we're treating it like professionals as best we can.
Yep.
But we don't really see ourselves. It's not that we don't see ourselves, but it's like we don't really know what the future holds.
You're not banking on it.
We're not banking on it,
blowing
yeah.
up or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel exactly the same way. It's like, for me, it's, like we're making something. It's going to be a final product. Might as well be representing us as accurately as it can, be as good as it can be. But like, I like don't want to set expectations for something that won't happen.
Yeah.
And
So above all, it's just it's a group of guys and we're hanging out and we're having fun. We're writing music and like that's what's important to me. And I feel like it sounds like what's important to you.
Yeah, and we're all doing different things as well, like with careers and schools and stuff.
Well, yeah, we
but,
got
like,
you and I are going to college next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think Chase. I mean, it's not Chase. Blake and Sam, and I mean, all four of us have talked, and it's like, if for some reason we blow up and we, if for some reason we blow up and somebody wants to contract us and we end up like liking the label, then we'll ditch our plans if it seems viable and pursue it because it's fun and we love doing it.
Yeah.
But if that doesn't happen, that's okay too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a experience. There's a band called Switchfoot. They've been out for since the early thousands, and forever ago, I was at one of their concerts, and the lead singer John Foreman, I had like an opportunity, like somebody I knew was in the venue, and I was like wrote him a letter, just like saying what's up, basically. And he pulled that letter out on stage and pulled me up on stage, and I played guitar with him, which was super sick.
That's so
Wait,
awesome.
when was that? I've seen Switchfoot live
This
before.
is a long time ago.
Not like 2014 or something like that.
No. It was like it wasn't all Switchfoot. It was stripped. It was like a stripped
It
show.
had to be like
Okay.
2016 or 2017.
Yeah,
Because
you
I
know
saw
that,
them
yeah.
live with like Lecrae one time.
Yeah, they were Lecrae, and then they did one with Reliant K too.
Okay,
It was
okay.
it was like a strip show.
I was like, did you perform at a
no.
show I went to? Like, what?
No, yeah, and so afterwards I got to talk to him, and he was telling me, he's like, like as much as you might like, as much as you like music, as much as you enjoy playing guitar, like you can't count on it because for a lot of people it doesn't happen like, it's been, he's like, it's different obviously from when I was doing it because it's a lot easier now to take off and to promote your own music and make it like, it's a lot more people are making it because it's a lot easier to make music nowadays. You don't need, $1 million record label to make, record you, make it sound good.
Right.
And so he was kind of saying like, for you specifically, because of how much you aspire to go to college, and get a degree, like I would say get a degree, most likely regardless of what happens. Obviously there's like he dropped out of college too, and he was saying like if we hadn't have made it, I would have been screwed without my college degree, is basically what he kind of thought.
Yeah.
And at least for the field that I want to go into.
Right. Yeah.
And so like I don't know, I feel like unless something pretty major happens, I'm still going to try and get a college degree. I plan on going to UW just because it's really cheap. And so but obviously if I don't know what your plan is, but Sam and Blake are staying here for now. And if we're all still around, we'll keep doing it. But
Yeah.
Labels. Get at Not Alone.
Where you at, Sub Pop?
Yeah, I mean, Matt and I have talked about how it sucked. Like it's great how much more accessible it is to make music and to find artists nowadays. But at the same time, it's also tough because there's so many factors.
Oversaturated.
Yeah, there's so many factors that go into it other than just the quality of your music.
Right.
I take a third of a cent and go home and call it a day. I mean, yeah, the kind of, I talk about this with the guys a lot. It's like we have 180 something thousand unique listeners on Spotify. Like completely unique people that listen, and all I could think is like, if they all bought that single for 99 cents, we'd have $180,000 right now. But at the same point, like without Spotify, without streaming services, 180 people wouldn't have found our song unless we were assigned to a label. So it's a blessing and a curse.
And then you have so much more competitors too.
Yes, yeah, exactly. It's super oversaturated.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we have a lot of competitors that we know, but even just in the teen music scene in Seattle, like there's just
really
bands.
East Side Seattle.
No,
music
not
scene,
even East Side.
Very specific.
Is there like a community in that? Like does everyone kind of know who each other are?
Yeah, we all kind of know. Like everybody kind of knows each other from hearsay. There are some band, like for example, we're pretty good friends with a band called Lights Out. We are pretty good friends with a guy named Splitting Silence, and like we know them.
Yep.
But
we played shows with them. That's kind of how you meet people.
Did they play for you guys at the Revenant place? Because I've seen you
Firehouse.
guys. The Firehouse.
That's where it
I've
started.
seen you guys
With bands
perform
like,
once, and there's another band there. But yeah,
that was Lights Out. And that's like a lot of the people that we meet, in the space, we meet from those, those shows. The Revenant Firehouse is a venue that supports, local teen music, which is an awesome and very unique thing, I think. But they throw it all together. We don't know who we're playing with until like the day before.
Really?
And so we meet some people, and they're either
really nice,
really, really awesome, or awful people, and just really mean, and their music is not good. Or sometimes it's some older people, and we get to have some more people to look up to, and people to support their music, and for them to support our music is super cool. It's just like it's a really unique thing that doesn't come around a lot. In a lot of spaces. And I know, Matt, you get on, with Instagram with a lot of those rap collabs.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a community in and of itself, which I think is, you guys are congratulating each other.
That's why
in the
I was
comments.
wondering what the community is for you guys.
Yeah.
It's interesting because like we kind of have the same thing. We're always congratulating each other. The three bands that we talk to the most are definitely a band called Splitting Silence, Lights Out, and then my friends personally, they're called Night Loops.
Okay.
And so like those three are the ones that we kind of all congratulate each other. We invite each other to shows when possible.
Post on social media,
we'll promote them.
That's our album. They all had it up on there.
And we're all very different styles.
Yeah.
Like one of them's like straight heavy metal. The other one's like a mix of alternative heavy punk rock.
Okay.
The other guys are very much like indie, like bedroom pop music.
Yep.
And we're like this weird alt pop rock indie vibe.
Yeah.
But it's still cool to see that like we all know the struggle. Like we're all teens.
Yep.
We're all making music, and we're all like just trying to produce stuff.
Yeah.
And so we all know the struggle, so we all support each other, which I like.
That's
like
dope.
that.
Yeah.
So what was that venue that you were saying?
The Revenant Firehouse is what it's called. It's
Oh no, sorry. I was just gonna ask. So is that place like founded on this idea of like indie artists that are?
Yes, it's a lot.
What is it?
It's a teen center. Like the whole thing is like a city teen center, city funded program.
But their main thing is that they do tons of concerts. Like Death Cab for Cutie played there when they first started.
What?
Modest Mouse played there when they first started.
So
it's
they have
like,
posters on the wall of all from the 70s and
everybody's
80s,
take.
like
That's
everybody.
awesome.
And it's an old, so it was an old firehouse, like the old Redmond Firehouse that they converted to a full teen center. There's a lot in there, actually. There's like a bunch of art rooms and stuff. There's a mostly full-fledged recording studio that we've recorded some stuff in. It's a great, super unique space, and a lot of places don't really have that.
Right.
And it was funny, Essie and I were at the front of the Redmond, like the Derby Days parade. Like we were like the front face for the teen center, even though we don't live in Redmond and like only go there for shows, you know?
Yeah.
But it's a great community. I think it's thanks to them, honestly, that we are where we are.
Yeah.
Because Blake and Sam had an internship with one of the sound engineers that worked concerts there.
Yeah.
And they learned a lot. They got a lot of connections. Without them, we wouldn't have had our first professional quote unquote show.
Yeah.
Well, most of our shows are there. Like we played some at the Hard Rock. We played some at the Crocodile in Seattle.
Oh, you played at the Crocodile?
The Crocodile back
the
bar.
back bar. Sorry, the back bar. We sold out the back bar.
We still we can still say we played at the Crocodile.
That's dope. Yeah.
But the majority of our shows we've played over the years, and the majority of ones our friends come to and stuff, are at the Firehouse, and it's just it's a super cool community in the sense that like, you know, there are the bad eggs that, you know, just no matter what, we're better than you, even if they're awful. And like,
Right.
You just kind of get that. That's part of the process, you know, in any genre. I think there's probably the same way in rap, I'm sure.
Right. And do you guys ever like, if it's like older people coming in, do they kind of like look down on you guys for being so young?
Honestly, not
No.
necessarily. I think we kind of redeem ourselves in our musical ability.
Because you're good, so they're like, then they're almost intimidated because they're old. And not
But
as
what's nice is that like you get those connections. We have these two bands. There are three adult bands in general that we've played with. One called Senior Finn.
They're great. I
They're
love
great.
those guys.
Another guy is called Winehouse, which are incredible. They're up and coming. Like they're going to go places.
Yeah.
And they're based in Spokane, but they sometimes come out here. And then the third one is a one man. Well, it's not one man project because he has other guys, but he goes under the name Darksoft. And we've played with them in different times. Singer Finn we've played with twice, and they've been so kind every single time. They tell us about venues and places where we can play. But that's probably as far as the relationship goes. Winehouse, they're super kind. They
Super kind. Super kind.
They DM us a lot about
Yeah.
like, how's the album coming? Like, I'm so excited. I can't wait to promote you guys.
Super
And
cool.
They're
That's
they're
awesome.
great guys. And then Darksoft, personally, like with him, me and Chase love his music, but like me personally, like me and him have like talked before, and he's like super interested in like hearing our stuff, and it's really cool to see like these adults who, even though we've only played with them maybe once or twice, they're still supportive because they were there. They
and
know
it's,
what it's
and
like.
it's adults that you might not have otherwise have connected with, and it's like
Yeah.
not
Right.
even necessarily about the age difference anymore. It's just somebody that you met. Like a lot of those guys in Senior Finn, like I mean, we don't keep in super good touch with them, but like we had, you know, like great connection, like great conversations with all those guys, and it's like I would never have met these, you know, 30-somethings, you know,
Yeah.
otherwise.
And I mean, the fact is they have skill too and knowledge about just music in general and
we've learned
creative
so
knowledge
much from those people.
Mhm.
Yeah, we'll listen to that and be like, that's really cool. Like maybe we could try something like that, or we could try this effect or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's so important to have like just a community of people that you can look up to and
sure.
just talk to and stuff. And I think
Right.
it's cool because, like you said, those, you know, 30-something-year-old guys before they'd just be like some guy you probably wouldn't talk to, but now they're like a friend.
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
not like it. It's not even about the age. It's just like music.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah,
it's just
for
so
sure.
cool.
It's a unique way of connecting with people that otherwise like we wouldn't have in our lives at all.
Mhm.
And I mean, Matt, same way with you online, especially with social media. With those,
Right.
You know,
yeah.
I mean, I don't think you would have otherwise connected with like Cam Stone, right?
No, yeah. Shout out to Cam Stone.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So before we kind of wrap it up here, do you guys have a main inspiration as a band, or like maybe another band that you feel like you like the direction they've gone and their sound, or do you guys just try and do your own thing?
It's a mix of both, honestly. I think, and I'd love to hear how Esty feels about it. But I mean, I would say, you know, and it's kind of evident on the album a bit, what artists we were listening to, like when we were that. So, like I can tell you for a fact when "Sponsor Me" was written, that all of us were like deep into this band called Mom Jeans, and literally it's like written exactly like it sounds like a Mom Jeans song.
Yeah.
And I would say it's kind of a combination of both. You know, like we, for people, you know, around our age, we can kind of look. It's a little more unique for us because of how much Talk You Down exploded on Spotify.
Right.
Like most of the other people we're working with don't have songs of quite that level
Yeah.
of reach, and it's interesting. I don't know. I think it's a combination of both. There are some, especially like Winehouse, we'd love to be where they're at, but at the same time, like we kind of have our own vision.
Yeah.
I mean, our own lack of a vision in a way.
Yeah.
And our own drives and our own sound, really.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you feel about it?
No, I totally agree. Like you definitely could tell kind of what we were listening to at the time, as long as you know the artist. Especially with me, I work in a way where I hear a style of music, then I want to kind of replicate it.
Yeah.
I don't copy it exactly per se, but like, for example, Rogue, I've loved the Killers. I grew up listening to the Killers. I'm still growing up, but the Killers was like the first album that, like, the first band that I actually listened to and enjoyed. And so, like, Rogue, for example, which was like the first like rock song that I wrote in my bedroom with my guitar.
Yep. Like,
you can hear kind of the rhythm and the vocal effect and the lyrics and the intensity. Like, that's what I was trying to emulate. And same with Sponsor Me Coke. But what I do like is that because we all listen to such different music, though that may be the main inspiration / foundation, we'll all come up with ideas and make it our own by throwing in different touches and different production elements.
It kind of comes in at a happy medium. You know, if Blake and Sam are over here listening to this really indie like screaming punk band, and SC and I are over here listening to like some calm Hippocampus, it comes in a nice middle, you know, and it's not necessarily that balance all the time. But it kind of averages out in a unique way.
And what I think is nice is that like there isn't one song on the album where like you'll be like, this sounds exactly like this band. They're totally ripping them off, which I like.
That's good. That's
which is important. Yeah.
Have you guys ever reached out to any of the bands that inspire you? Like, tried to connect with anyone
I mean,
or no?
The closest we got to Peach Pit, which was another important one for us. The closest we got to Peach Pit was getting something mastered by the same guy that masters their stuff.
Oh, okay.
Mom Jeans, me and Blake went to a concert, and we were actually feet away from like him. After he played a set, he went out to the back and was like in like changing guitars or changing shirts or something like that. And we left right after their set because we were only there to see them. And we tried to say hi, but he like didn't say anything.
Yeah.
So we just walked away. But like that was cool too. Hippocampus, we've all gone to their concert. We had a great time. We didn't get any chance to like meet them at all.
Yeah, the four of us went. That Hippocampus concert was probably one of the best concerts I've ever been to. It was with you guys. It was super fun.
Yeah, but I think I mean in an ideal my bad ideal situation, if you know, we get signed to a label or something like that, we could be like, you know, we really like these bands. You want to introduce us?
Man.
That's the other part of a label that is super beneficial. Is like, you know, Blake's all like, you know, like, oh, they're gonna take all your money. And it's like, well, first of all, they pay you a salary, so regardless of what you do, you can make money. But like, I don't really care about money, you know. And that gives you opportunities to open for bands, you know. If they're like making, you know, they're like, all right, we need our band this that has 50,000 followers. They need an opener. Oh, let's throw Nautilin on there. Yeah. And then suddenly we're opening for a massive crowd or whatever. And it's like that opportunity just doesn't come up because all the people playing big shows are all signed to labels. Yeah. And you can't open for them because they're having someone else assigned. So it's like that's kind of the difficulty. And kind of what's nice about the Firehouse specifically is like a lot of those opportunities for shows that we had, like where we're headlining a show, like that just doesn't come up that often. Because you know, you need a label to set that up, or you know.
But it's becoming more and more common for people to stick to being independent.
For sure.
So
there's definitely a learning curve. I think, and you've kind of experienced this as well, I'm sure, Matt.
Right.
It's just there's a learning curve to learning how to produce and mix your own music. You've gotten really good at that.
Thanks.
A lot better than I have. It's like there's a whole learning curve to the side of stuff that isn't just making music. It's learning how to record yourself, you know, learning how to market yourself to an audience, learning how to book shows. That kind of it's a unique skill that's becoming easier and easier to do, I think.
Yeah. Right. Sure. And it's also just so different. Like if you look at our two lanes, like trying to do like a band like independently and mix it all, like it's so much more complicated than like I literally just track vocals and I'm good at that, but like that's different than trying to so many more pieces to put together for you guys.
I guess so. I wouldn't necessarily say it's harder. It's just a different style, you know?
Okay, yeah.
It comes intuitively like to me where to place the mics and how loud the kick needs to be and stuff like that. But, you know, I DM'd or I like responded to one of your stories and I was like, how do you make that 808 sound like that? That's insane, you know? And so it's like, yeah, I don't know. I think, it is coming more. I think do you agree that it's coming more prevalent, you know, to kind of make your own.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, it's not like labels are like all bad, but like, I think people are becoming smarter and they're going to be better at recognizing bad deals and stuff like that. So labels can't really. They have to people. Find new ways to scam people.
No, for sure. All I can think is like, I talked with Blake about this a while ago, and you too, I think, were part of this conversation. Like, all I could think, it was when I don't know if you guys know about the whole Taylor Swift controversy.
I don't know. I don't know what happened.
She doesn't own most of her music anymore because of like a trade deal her label did. And all I can think in my head is like, man, I would never like sign away the rights to something that I wrote, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
That's like a pretty common thing up until recently in the industry. And all I could think is like, man, I like there would have to be a very large sum of money for me to be like, okay, just have my product that I'm proud of, you know?
Right.
It's like giving away your child.
Well, but like I feel like most of the times these people get scammed. It's not intentional. It's they're either like so young or they're really need the money at the time, or they just get bamboozled and don't really know what happened.
Well, they're just excited, like, oh, a record label reached out to us. You're like, who cares if they want to offer us $1,000 for something they'll make $100,000 off of, you know?
Exactly.
Which is where our parents come in. Yeah.
Well, like nowadays, like all the like music business people that are big on like social media, like all they talk about is like owning your masters, and it's like as an independent artist, it's all about owning everything.
Yeah.
But there's still ways you can do that being signed.
Oh, for sure.
But it's really hard to do.
It is. I've always envied the kind of record deals that are like, you know, logistics only handling, you know, like, oh, they deal with mixing and mastering, but you own the rights to the stuff you produce, and like, you know, they pay for your studio time, you know, they pay for logistics and marketing, and they, you know, take a decent amount of your influx of cash, but like, as someone who doesn't really care about money like that much, like I don't know. It's like I wouldn't mind paying off somebody to do, because I just do so much as is anyway.
Right,
all I can think is like, man, if I could pay somebody, you know,
to do all the stuff
Like,
you
as
don't
long-
want to
like,
do.
I
Exactly,
think
yeah.
Like as long as we're stable, like economically stable, right, and we're able to, you know, feed our future families, then we'll be fine as long as we do what we love and not get cheated out of it.
yeah, I'd rather be happy
Right.
than not be happy and have a lot of money.
Exactly. That's how I feel. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's a dream for like
Every
artist.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Well, guys, I'm super excited. When this episode is released, the album is out.
It'll be live.
Go
It'll be live.
listen to it.
Yeah.
Apple
So
Music, Spotify,
SoundCloud,
everywhere.
Bandcamp, YouTube,
Yep.
everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Jay-Z's thing.
Title.
Title. Yeah. Title.
Yep. Cool. So Not Alone, they can just search Not Alone.
Yep.
Mhm.
Not Alone on any platform. Our website that I just worked on for like forever. NotAloneBand.com. We got a merch store up there.
That's awesome,
Am I allowed to
man.
plug
Dope,
that?
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hell
Okay,
yeah.
We got a merch
And-
store. Got some pretty sweet merch.
And just in case you can't find us, search on Not Alone instead of Sleeping.
Yep.
And that should come up.
Right. Yeah.
Not Alone Band on Google pulls up all our stuff.
Okay.
But yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, guys, definitely check it out. Matt and I have listened to it. I've got to listen through it twice now. Matt's probably listened to it like 4 or 5
A
times.
couple
now.
times. Yeah.
But I love it, and I know you guys will definitely enjoy it. So go check it out. But yeah, Matt, where can they follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at
yep.
@MattMog.
There you go. Esteban, where can they follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram at st.ortiz, ORTIZ.
Cool.
And the Not Alone account at Not Alone Official.
Okay, dope.
Sweet. Chase.
Yeah. At Not Alone Official. Chase.Edson on everything.
Okay, cool. You guys can follow me at Hey Narwhal on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Thank you guys again for coming on. This was fun.
Yeah, super fun. Thanks for having us.
We'll have to have you on again, in a couple years from now, whenever the next music comes out. You know?
For sure.
But guys, there's new episodes every single Monday. You guys, if you're new around here, should leave a review on the Apple Podcasts app.
Yes.
It helps us out a lot if you just search Not a Sheep, scroll to the bottom, rate us 5 stars, and write a review. But with that being said, we'll see you guys next Monday.